So I thought I'd come out and play worst ball today because I'll be honest, I've been getting in my head a little bit about trying to improve my swing, been making these changes on my takeaway and trying to get a little bit more on the inside. I've sort of crept, as a knock-on effect of those rolly wrists, I've crept to being a little bit out to win again, which is just frustrating from the perspective of I feel like I cracked it over the summer and then it's kind of thrown me back into those tendencies. But that's okay, that's golf. And so rather than getting stuck in that frustration, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to come out and play with what I've got and see what happens. And to make that even harder, or I should say to make it more fun, I thought I'd play worst ball. So I'm going to hit 2 balls and then play the worst one of those 2, almost like a solo scramble, but for the worst ball rather than the better ball, and just see what I can score. So we're on the 6th hole here at West Surrey. Let's see how we get on. So this is one of those tee boxes that when you look at it, it almost actually tries to sneakily line you up to where you don't want to go. So here, if I look and head straight down this tee box, I'm heading straight for that bunker, if not possibly the woods if I get a little bit leaky. So I'm gonna have to readjust myself. I'm really gonna focus on heading almost down a little bit of the right side here. I say this now, we'll probably go really right, but I just like to come in and realign myself rather than just follow the tee box because they can be a little bit sneaky sometimes. So, first one of the 2. We are a little bit right, going righter, hold it. Oh, I think I clipped that tree, so that could be our worst one, but you know, don't speak too soon, Jess. So let's see how we go. Think positive. Oh, that's one we want, but I'm not going to be able to have it. Still a little bit leaky for my liking. This is that out to in that I'm talking about. I think it's just plugged straight in some wet mud. So let's see how we go. I'm also really a little bit anxious about the shoes. I am living on the edge here and I've just spotted that little bit of mud. But, you know, got to crack them in at some point, haven't I? So as I mentioned there on the tee, I noticed it in myself recently, getting a little bit sort of stuck in perfectionism, which I think is pretty much impossible with golf. So I don't know why I'm doing it to myself. But, you know, when you've been really grafting on your swing or a particular part of your swing, for me it's been the takeaway, as you know. And I just find when I then film myself on the range or kind of, you know, come out to play and maybe find that that tendency is still there, it just feels really tricky. But sticking with it, trying to really let go of the perfectionism, know that these changes aren't going to happen overnight. And actually, what feels really good is I feel like I've got 2 really specific areas of focus in my swing that I can just keep working on. I've got drills for them now, which feels really good as well. And it just gives me that sense of, if I know what I'm working on and why I'm working on it, rather than rushing to try and have it be perfect, because it's not going to be. Hello, we've got 2 pluggeroonies here. Then I know I can just focus on making progress, like those little steps forward, but also really trying to focus on when I am playing, letting go of trying to have the perfect swing. I keep saying perfect, it's really just like not achievable, Ratcliffe. But you know, that sense of, we want it, don't we? We want to kind of feel like what we're working on is coming to fruition on the course. But I think what I noticed lately is I just want to come out and play with freedom. I want to not worry about technique too much when I'm on the course, but more like playability. How can I score with what I've got on the day? So, speaking of, let's see what we've got here. So I think this was our first drive, or I know it was, because that's got a 1 on it. This was our second, slightly better. Oh, it's very wet. I don't know why I'm about to mark that, because we're picking this one up, playing worst ball today. So we're bringing ourselves back here, and we're gonna mark this spot with fairway, so we can go a little bit of winter rules, give ourselves a bit of a better lie than a plugged mark. And a clean. So par 5, we're going to have a long way to go. So I'm going to try and think on this one of more what I would love to leave myself with, but also from here, given it's just a little bit wet and muddy, what I feel I could get a good strike to. So I think it's just going to have to be rescue. I forgot my watch today, but we've got a big old way to go. Hit a good rescue. I'm going to aim down towards the bunker on the left there, because even though it's a red flag, I know I'm not going to reach it. I'm not even going to try and take on the trees, she says now. Let's see what happens. Let's just put a good, smooth swing on it. Oh, not so smooth, a little bit shapy. Could be our worst ball. Oh, didn't actually see that down, so I'm sure it's probably headed for those trees where I said I didn't want to go. Oh no, I've lost my mark as well. Uh-oh. Oh no. First one went right, Second's gone very left by the trees. Okay, I think our worst one might be that first again. So our worst of the two ended up here. We've got 132 yards to the pin from that little shapy number that we had back there. I'm over the top creeping back in. So 132, front pin, little bit muddy. I think I might go, I guess I can try two things here. I think firstly I'm going to try a bit of a knockdown 7. It's calling me. I feel like that's the instinct. So let's see what we can do with a bit of a knockdown 7. A little bit shapy again. Ooh, not on the green, so that could be our worst. Now, do I dare try my other thought, which was a full 8, or shall I stick? Well, this is the trouble with the old worst balls. You think even if I get this on the green, I know I've got to take the other one, but that's the challenge. That is the challenge. So let's stick with the same, try and straighten it up a little bit. Just going to try and let there be more patience at the top of my swing. I can get a little bit tuggy, which causes my over the top. Or thin it. Ooh, could be worse than the other one. Let's go find out. So I can see us from here, both again in very similar places for these misses. So at least we can see the pattern leaking out to the right. But it's just again that sense of trying to not overthink it, trying to not get just in that zone. I can get very much into just like practice zone and stay practicing rather than just coming out and playing. And I think the key is exactly like this, doing fun games like worst ball, as much as it's fun, is that the word? A challenge to come out and just see what I can play with from my worst shots. Can I still scramble a score from my worst shots, which at the minute are also probably worse because of making these changes, overthinking when I'm playing. But instead, if I could come out and use this just to kind of free up, play with fun, even though you know you're playing from your worst balls, that's still a challenge, isn't it? Still a bit of a game to it. And if we can scramble a score, even better. Right, so we've got a couple to choose from here. So we're going for that one of our worst balls, because this one was on the flat, still a bare lie, but there we've got not only a bare lie, a bit of rough and downhill. So I'm going to try and land this. I've got my pitching wedge, because although I was getting pulled towards my 58 degree. I've got nothing really to worry about here in terms of carry. If anything, it would just kill it and allow it to run on a little bit. And I know that being on the downslope, it's going to de-loft the club that I'm using. So I'm just going to try and do a bit of a feely bump and run here and see if we can possibly get her close. Go on. Oh, get in. Sit. Okay. I'm not sure the technique was perfect, but again, that's kind of our mantra today, going against the grain of perfect. So giving ourselves a horrible little line there. So we're going to pat it down and go back on the mud and just try and replicate that and see if we can scramble ourselves out of these not so great strikes that we've had today. Ooh, that's going to be the worst, isn't it? It's got a bit of pace to her. Sit. Not too bad. I'd take it. I mean, I wish we could go for the first one, but that's not the game we're playing today, is it? So sadly, we're picking up that one and we're heading over here. Get to give her a bit of a clean now. Let's try and really get a good read on this. Ooh, yeah, I've got that a little bit. Ooh, tough there. I think that's going to be largely straight. Thought I was feeling it a little bit in the left, but I don't know if that's just my, kind of it goes against what my eyes are seeing. So I'm going to trust my feet and go a little bit to the right here, because I think it's oddly going to peel a touch up to the left. Oh, I haven't got the pace on it. Yeah, that did kind of turn up, didn't it? Do you find you ever get those where it's like just an optical illusion that goes against what your eyes are seeing? Okay, I'm hoping my second one might do better than this, so I'm going to mark this one because we know that we might be coming back for there. Oh, I've forgotten to mark this again, but I think we were about here somewhere. Okay. Better. Still not quite there, left it a little bit short. but better. There we go, bogey. Not the best, but okay. For playing worse ball and yeah, just not feeling that good, sort of confident in my swing at the minute. I think that's what I want to get over, is not worrying about trying to have the perfect swing when I play, but to have something that is playable. And so given that that was playing the worst ball, wasn't too shabby. I think we would have had some chances if we could have gone from the other place as well, but that's golf, isn't it? Sometimes you come out and you just have your worst swing, or you just don't have the game, and it feels like it's sort of, where's that gone? Because maybe the day before you felt like you played really well. And so for me today, it was just about coming out, challenging that perfectionism by playing the ultimate challenge to that worst ball, and just seeing what I would score playing that game, playing the worst of my shots that feel a little bit shaky as it is at the minute, but that's okay. The graft continues, the winter work continues, we're not quite over yet. Plus it's just an ongoing journey, isn't it? I think this is, I mean, all the cliches. The biggest thing that's really stood out to me over the winter is realising that it's not just about what we do now, like that obviously will plant seeds and pay off in the long run, but it's the actions that we take all the time, those repetitions that we get in, that will pay off over our full golfing journey rather than just maybe in that next round that we play. And I always feel like it's just there, just within reach, fingers crossed.